And I'm Eugene.
We're Melon Math. Today we are going to practice multiplying and dividing fractions with our crossing out method we learned in the last video. This is another video in Unit 1 before starting 6th grade math, and the fourth practice video. Let's start. So the first question that I have is 17 over 30 times 5 over 16 times 15 over 17. So using the crossing out method, how would we do this one?
So 30 is divisible by 15. 30 divided by 15 is 2. And 15 divided by 15 is 1. And then there's two more 17s, which are both divisible by 17. If you divide them both, they both become 1.
Yes, that's true. There's nothing left that we can divide further, so it would be 5 times 1, which is 5, times 16 times 2, which is 32. That's our first answer. The second question that I have is 1/2 divided by 3/4 divided by 11/6. So what would you do here?
So first I would flip over the 3 over 4 and 11 over 6 to become 4 over 3 and 6 over 11, and then multiply them all.
And then we could cross things out. So 4 and 2 can be 4 and 2 are both divisible by 2, so we can cross them out, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2.
Right.
6 and 3 have a common factor of 3, so we can both divide them to 1 and 2. And we have nothing left that we can divide further, so we are going to just say 1 times 2 times 2, which is just 4. And then 1 times 11, which is just 11. The third problem that we are going to do is 21 over 22 times 2/7 times 2/5 times 15/6. How would you do this one?
Well, there's a 22 and a 2, and they're both divisible by 2. 22 divided by 2 is 11, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then there's a 7 and a 21. 21 divided by 7 is 3, and 7 divided by 7 is 1.
And now we can see 2 and 6, which can be simplified to 1 and 3 when we both divide them by 2. And lastly, we have 5 and 15, which are both divisible by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And since we have a 3 up here and a 3 down here, or we can use this one as well, we can cross them out because 3 over 3, like this, equals 1. And anything times 1 is itself.
Right.
Like we talked about before. So we would actually just see 3 over 11. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the fourth question that we are going to do is 1/2 divided by 7/10 divided by 19/18 divided by 3/14. And in this case also, we would flip 7/10 to 10 over 7, 19/18 to 18 over 19, and switch 3 over 14 to 14 over 3, and we would multiply them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, do you want to simplify them?
Mm-hmm. So there's a 2 and a 10, which can be simplified into 1 and 5, which can be simplified into 1 and 5. So there's a 7 and 14, which can be simplified into 1 and 2. And lastly, there's 18 and 3, which can be simplified into 6 and 1.
Right, so there is 19 on the denominator, right? Everything else is a 1. And then 5 times 6 times 2, which is 12 times 5. And we know that's 60. And we know that we will keep this as an improper fraction.
Because we don't use mixed numbers later on?
Yes. And now the last problem that we are going to be doing is 3/8 times 12 over 13 divided by 20 over 26 times 4 over 5 times 2 over 3. Very long, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we can do it. So this one was, and this one I made so that it's challenging. So we can right away see that 20 over 26 is not simplified, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can right away simplify that to
10 and 13.
10 and 13, that's right. So we will do that, 10 and 13. And then we have to turn this into a problem with all multiplication, right?
Mm-hmm.
For us to simplify with the crossing out.
Right.
So I'll just rewrite all the numbers that are just multiplied. And then we have divided by 10 over 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
With 12 over 13. We flip the second one and multiply, right? When we divide fractions.
Mm-hmm.
So we will flip the 10 over 13 to 13 over 10 and multiply. And then we will just write down the rest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we can cross out. So right off the bat, I can see 13 and 13.
Right.
And as we talked about earlier, top and bottom being the same is just equal to 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll cross those out. And then what do you see?
Well, I see another one where the top and bottom are the exact same of 3.
Of 3. So 3 right here and 3 right here.
Right.
And then what else do you see?
I see a lot of choices of 10 and every single number on the top except all the ones that are crossed out. I can do 10 and 4, 10 and 2, and 10 and 12. I'll go with 10 and 12.
Okay.
So 10 and 12, they're both divisible by 2. And if they're both simplified by 2, they'll become 6 and 5.
And I see 8 and 4, which are both divisible by 4. So this one's going to be a 1, and then 8's going to be a 2. And then we have the same exact thing, which is 2 and 2 top and bottom, right?
Again, yeah.
So we're going to cross these out. And now I don't see any more that we can divide. So I'm just going to multiply all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I multiply, I can see that this one has been crossed out, this one has been crossed out, this one and this one have been crossed out, and that equals to that they're 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all we have in the numerator is 6.
Right.
And then for denominator, this one was crossed out, this one was crossed out. We have a 5 left here, 5 left here, and then this one was crossed out.
So 5 times 5 is 25, so it would be 6 over 25.
Right. And
We can't simplify that anymore.
yeah, because we already did before. And as you can see here, the crossing out method is really helpful when you're multiplying fractions a lot, like with a lot of numbers. If I was going to just do this problem without the crossing out method, I would have to multiply every numerator together and then every denominator together.
And then simplify it.
Yeah, which would take a lot of time
Yeah.
for me. So this was us practicing the crossing out simplifying method on multiplying and dividing fractions. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.